Three, two, one. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be another discussion on who's going to win this fight. 1v1, 5 different rounds, Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. I am the Workout Gamer. Today I am joined with Daniel. Do you have
How's it
anything to
going?
plug?
Not really plug, but man, it feels great to finally start to get back to normal question mark because this past weekend was the first time I hung out with friends outdoors and we just did a ton of stuff just making up for lost time. But I'm excited and I love this battle tonight.
All right. And Christina, would you like to plug who you are?
Yes. Everybody might know me as Nintendo Lady. I am pretty much on Instagram, on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, whole 9 yards. I pretty much draw whatever and whenever. and animes and whatever else in between.
All right. And we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to all of us Pokemon and Yu Gi Oh! Daniel, you seem the most appropriate person to start off. Uh, please describe what your background with both are.
So I'm pretty sure that Efren called me because we have, let's say, an eternal rivalry. As Yami Yugi versus Little Mac. We have a rivalry in CWF where I've cosplayed as Yami Yugi, he's cosplayed as Little Mac, and we just like for like a whole year we were just like basically the rivals. For like AX he won, and then the ALA I got the money in the bank, and then I cashed it in. We had this like awesome conversation for Animania 3 as Yami Yugi. So I've been cosplaying Yami Yugi for almost a decade now. It's been having to
Yeah.
a couple years now, but I mean that's what Yu-Gi-Oh means to me. I mean, I just love the character Yami Yugi. I love playing games, and I always have that mindset of just like I'm gonna win this. Like if there's, it's like can you go um perform this task? Like I don't really care, but it's like perform this task and beat this other guy. I'm like well now it's a competition. So that's like my entire mindset. And this might not be known, but I've actually cosplayed from Pokemon as well. I did a Gary Oak cosplay about 2013, and Christina was actually in that cosplay skit for Anime Expo
Yep.
2013. It was called Ash versus the Elite Four. So it was like we had
That was
an
funny.
Ash, a Brock, a Misty. She was Misty. We had an Agatha, a Lorelei, Jaime was Bruno. We had a
Yep.
Lance, and I showed up
Yeah,
as
nice.
Gary Oak, and then Professor Oak came out just like Gary, you did a fine job, and I'm just like, but I lost, and he slaps me. Ash, you did a great job. I just like cut and paste all the audio clips that sound like just like the anime characters were talking, but it was a ton of fun.
Have I ever told you I always wanted to do a panel, Gary Oak and why he's better than you?
Yes,
An
I would
hour-long panel of
love
just
that.
why
Yeah,
this guy is just better than you. And
sounds almost like Gen 5 isn't Pokemon. We're just like we are totally convinced. We are totally convinced that Gary Oak is better than you. We are totally convinced that Gen 5 is not Pokemon.
Gen 5 had decent Pokemon though.
They'll go in a whole hour-long panel and they say, Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is the worst thing ever. And sure, that's from Gen 4, but Gen 5 did not correct that. Therefore, Gen 5 is the worst.
we all know it's the Alola version. Anyways, Christina,
Yeah.
Wow.
go ahead and give us your background.
Dang. Actually, it's very similar to Daniel. I have been cosplaying mainly from the Yu-Gi-Oh series, Little Yugi, Pegasus, and Kaiba. Most notably, people recognize me for Little Yugi and Pegasus. I've been also in the Pokemon fandom since I was about 7 years old, so pretty long time. I've been playing pretty much almost all the main core games, and been playing the card game as well. Cosplayed Misty because Daniel, of course. And yeah, I mean, all overall, I made a lot of good friends out of the whole entire both series. They both mean heavily dear to me, and so it was kind of fun coming up with like, okay, who am I cosplaying next? What am I gonna do? And all this and that. Even just like looking at the personalities of each character, it's like, okay, yeah, no, I can create. No, I am determined, and this and that and this and that. So just it was really fun just figuring out who to choose and all that. So no, they both really do mean a lot. And I think for Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been cosplaying since 2009. Yeah, 2009. So a good long time.
Well, and the funny thing is, I actually met you as you were dressed as Kaiba.
Right.
What was it? Fanime 5?
Shoot.
Fanimania 5? I
Maybe?
think that was it. Because I never
Probably. I think that
performed
was the
with you.
first time I've actually seen Fanime.
But
Yeah, no, I think that was the first time I've seen Fanimania too, so I was like, let's go watch, why not? And I
yeah,
think I was cosplaying Kaiba at that time, just walking around. Yeah.
yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember. That one's still a fun outfit. Good memories. Like I said, good memories from both shows. My god.
And
Good memories.
personally for me, Pokemon, it all started when it was birthday / Christmas gift. My dad just said, "What's your favorite color?" Red. All right, pick a different color. Green. Here you go. It was a Game Boy Color, and with it was Pokemon Yellow. Me and my brother got
Oh,
it.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
and from that day, I put it in, I played it all the way to the airport, had to turn it off, then got back. My dad told my grandparents, "Hey, I got him a Game Boy. Give him a Game Boy game." I got Ken Griffey Jr.'s Home Run Derby. I played it for 2 minutes, turned it off, put Pokemon back in, and I was hooked ever since. I mean, I remember the Pokemon craze of '98 and '99, all the Pokemon cards,
Yeah.
everything. Uh, I I don't have my credentials anymore, but I was a Pokemon professor for a while.
oh, really
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
um,
Dang.
and I play the card game a lot, and I have uh all the. Do I have all the games? No, I've played all the games. I have a couple, like somewhere around here. I have a Japanese Pokemon Red, and
Whoa.
it's been something that I'm like it's always been part of my life, and I've never been able to like let go of it. Yu-Gi-Oh, same thing. Um, what Kids WB was a big thing for all of us.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Heck
Absolutely.
yes, it was.
watched Yu-Gi-Oh, bought the cards, had to buy another deck because my brother lost it. Um, and since then, the biggest event. Uh, just to give like a little backstory, my dad hates shopping. He hates the mall, but he took me and my brother to a Yu-Gi-Oh event inside a mall, where if you collect all the stickers, you get a Millennium Puzzle. The one I was stuck on
That's cool.
was beating the Masters, as I had a Blue Eyes / Exodia deck, and every time I try so hard, and unfortunately they beat me, and it got to the point where my dad's like, "All right, want to go home." So
Ooh.
I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, but unfortunately, because how Yu-Gi-Oh got, I recently tried to get back to it at my local card shop with the link summons. I like it, but then they changed those rules again. So trying to find a game that just like I just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh without losing in one
Invest
turn.
in Battle Pack 1. It's the best format ever. It's so fun.
Battle Pack.
Battle Pack.
All right, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
But I'll always have a Blue Eyes or an Exodia deck. And with that being said, today's topic: Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon. You get a Pokemon versus a duel monster. Who wins in the fight? A couple of rules. There's no trainer or duelist guiding these things. They're just put them up together. Lore is going to be used a little bit. Abilities will be taken into account. Stats as well. Um, we're going to try to avoid BS moments like, oh, I have
Yeah.
Focus, Sash, Rattata with Endeavor
Yeah.
and Quick Attack. We're not
So
gonna
so
take that.
basically Final Destination.
And essentially, Final
Final Destination,
Destination,
no items. Let's do
no
that.
items,
No items.
and pretty much we're gonna interpret how we want to interpret. We're gonna give a quick prediction of what we think. Your minds can be changed. So if you voted so and so is gonna win this, then no, you convinced me. Cool, it's unanimous. This is who we're picking for a win. There's three of us, so there is going to be a winner. The matchups are Arceus versus Exodia, Mega Rayquaza versus Slifer the Sky Dragon, Mewtwo versus Dark Magician, Garchomp versus Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Karibo versus Rattata. Um,
Oh,
Funny thing about how this idea started, me and Christina were actually having. She brought up the idea: what if Regigigas fought Exodia? Without hesitation, and pun intended, he would obliterate Regigigas. Then we were both talked about it for a while, and then we both came to an agreement. It has to be Arceus versus Exodia. So then we made this whole list, and here it is.
Yeah.
Anyone y'all want to start with? No predictions. Christina, who do you think is gonna take it? Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? Based on the five matchups.
Ouch. Ouch.
It's a rough one.
It is. They're both matchups are actually like all the matchups are really neck and neck personally. So if I were to give the edge, I will have to give it to Yu-Gi-Oh on a few accounts. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna say why until the very end because anything can happen in between.
Daniel.
So I'm very curious what's gonna happen.
so I'm pretty much convinced on 4 of the matches, but the one that I'm hesitant on is going to be the coin flip because right now I feel it's like 2-2. So I feel like for this, I think it's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh by a narrow margin.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be close. Like I could be wrong, but I'm just looking at the list, and I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
Wow, all of us are gonna pick Yu-Gi-Oh as the winner. Because I honestly believe Yu-Gi-Oh has it, but same as what Daniel said, it's gonna be close. Like it's not. It's gonna probably be.
It's close, yeah.
It's not. It's gonna be one battle that's gonna change our minds.
Yeah.
And then again, if we were talking about every single dual monster versus every single Pokemon, I'm going with Yu-Gi-Oh all the way. I mean, one fiber jar will mess up the whole reality. Cause a Nexus
Oh
event.
boy. God, that card. God, that card.
Who? Anyone want to start with? Anyone want to start with within those five, or should we
I
roll the
say
dice for
Karibo
this?
versus Rattata.
Oh no, that's the
I
that's the
say
best
Karibo
one. I
versus
gotta save that
Rattata.
for the end.
And also,
That's the cute one!
Bidoof is not on this list because that'd be too OP.
Darn it, he's too OP!
And his
He's
day
too
was
OP!
yesterday.
It was
His day was yesterday.
Yes!
So no influencing.
Yeah.
All
right.
So
We can't
Karibo
have
versus
godly
Rattata. That's the one you want to start
Karibo
with.
versus Rattata.
All right, who wants to
Yeah.
start?
I can go.
All right.
So, without a doubt, in my mind, Karibo wins this, and there's a reason for that. Because they're both the weakest monsters ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have them go back and forth, and Rattata you think might win some, Karibo might win some, just because of how strong they are. However, there's one thing that we always got to remember: Karibo self-destruct upon contact with the enemy, as established in the anime. So every single time that Rattata hits him, there's an explosion, and they both explode. However, if Karibo manages to get a hit on Rattata, it's probably going to die as well. So these two are just going to keep attacking each other, and they're probably just going to die each time. But that means Rattata will always explode, but Karibo might get a hit in and not explode.
Not just that, but if you I will kind of say if you do include multiply, I will kind of make that into a factor a little bit.
Nope.
Not
No outside help.
including the
I have to give
multiply,
that as well too,
I'm just
Karibo.
exclusively
I said
doing
if.
the
I
physical
said if for a
attacks,
reason.
and pretty much all of Rattata's moves are going to be a physical hit. Like all of Rattata's moves usually it's like quick
Right.
attack or bite or super fang.
Yeah.
Like all those moves,
Yeah.
he's making contacts, not like flamethrower. So I'm going to hit you from over here. It's more like I have
From
to
the
get in and like
distance,
hit
yeah.
you. Oh, I explode.
Yeah.
My thought process on this is I'm gonna give it to Karibo, but some things that are concerning in this is Karibo's slow. Rattata is fast.
Yes.
That's true.
You have a tank a slow tank versus a fast glass cannon. It's hard for me to say Rattata can win this. However, if bite causes flinch, does that do anything? Would that prevent the explosion? Or you have focus energy. Um, it no, it doesn't learn hyper feign until it's Eradicate, right?
It can, as
Yeah, it
long as
doesn't learn it
you
to.
hold the
I
B
thought
You
button down.
don't. Yeah, you don't evolve it.
also don't. Can you also breed the Rattata to make it learn that move, or no?
Well,
Um,
yeah, you can actually breed a Rattata. Fun fact, I never got around to playing the original Pokemon Black or White, so when
mhm.
I did go do it years later, I actually did a Rattata only run. So I bred
Oh
that
God.
Rattata to know like Flame Wheel, Sucker Punch, Facade, and like there was probably like Return or something, just as like a fourth just good hit move.
Yeah.
So you can learn Flame Wheel as an egg move, and Sucker Punch as an egg move.
But if we're taking the
Interesting.
average one,
Oh, we're
it
taking
doesn't
the
have that.
average one, it's like Sand Attack.
Now they
I was checking to see how much. I was checking to see how much percent bite does to cause the flinch. It only does 30%. So if you were gonna play that into a factor,
it really needs to.
there's a pretty nice. It needs to be a really high chance, but more likely not. So,
I mean,
that's
I'm
a
trying
tough
to
one.
fight for Rattata right now, just so the conversation keep going. But it kind of seems like the moment you said explosion, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was in the
Yeah,
anime.
I'm thinking like the
Yeah.
lore about Yu-Gi-Oh and how Karibo just self-destruct. I'm thinking Gen 1 where it's like, oh, Thousand Eyes Restrict, they explode. I'm launching all my Karibos at like
Oh
the
my
virtual
god,
world.
you're
The
right.
Yeah,
the Thousand Eye
Karibo on
Restrict
a
to where
catapult, and he
it
just
caused the
launches 1,000
explosions,
Karibos and
right?
like destroys all the monsters that are heading back to the castle.
And a decaying Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon can't take out all the
I'm
Karibos.
questioning that
Yeah.
still. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good wall.
So weird.
But do you think its speed is gonna hinder it in any way?
I don't think the speed will hinder it.
Not really.
Just because of how frail both are. We
Mm-hmm.
know that Karibo's like
Yeah.
pretty much the weakest monster in Yugi's deck. Rattata is like one of the weakest Pokemon. So if you hit with like a self destruct or an explosion, it doesn't matter what your attack points are. It all depends on the opponent's defense. They're just gonna explode and die.
Yeah, the defense. The defense. Basically,
In which case,
if
that
we're
becomes
gonna
a
do
draw.
Pokemon terms, if we're gonna do Pokemon terms, uh, and I'm gonna kind of toss in a Smash Brother rule a little bit in here. So the
Okay.
Pokemon stats, I will have to say, if we're basing it off of attack and defense, it depends who will survive longer, for sure. And in this case, because if we're gonna go with, let's say, the move Explosion in Pokemon terms, whoever used the move technically faints first before the other Pokemon. And depending on the other Pokemon will depend heavily on how much defense they do have. So, with that kind of in mind,
Hmm.
and I'm kind of also going to take a little slice out of Smash Brothers. Whoever faints first basically loses the stock before the other person. So, I'm kind of have to say Kariba will take the what is it? The stock away because it does die first. So
Now,
the question is, does Rattata survive the explosion?
does does Kar- does the explosion only happen when Karibo dies, or does it just at any point?
I think it's on contact in
It
general.
says on contact with enemy monsters. However, Karibo have been known to attack life points directly and not explode. I don't think I've
True.
ever witnessed Karibo attacking and defeating a monster.
Nope.
Because like I've
Never
only seen it
happened in the show or the
explode.
manga, so.
I've only seen it explode in that one scenario, and also just whenever it was blocking the whole
Yeah.
time.
I think there was a point where Karibo was used as Yami's
The deck
um
master.
deck
Spirit
master, and
animal? Spirit
I
animal?
think it was able to like attack the life points directly and do like a scratch for like 300 life points. It did not
Yeah,
explode in
I
that
think.
instance.
Hmm.
So
So
I guess when
Well,
it
that's
when it is attacked, it will just explode. If it attacks, it will not.
so in this instance, then
Hmm.
it either ends up in a draw, or Karibo lands a hit and it takes out Rattata.
Yes.
Because
So I can't see Rattata surviving any self-destruct ever. So I'm saying like draw, 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 draw. Karibo got lucky one time. Maybe like
yeah,
accuracy hit or
basically.
something.
because how I would
Because
assume would be, as soon as it hit the attack, because Karibo, I would consider it a tank in this scenario. It's like a, let's say, Sentret versus a Rattata. The Sentret would probably take a few hits more than the Rattata can.
oh yeah, easily.
So in that instance, yeah, Karibo takes it. I can't think
Rebo
of,
has the upper hand with that
because
one.
if it explodes when it dies, it's gonna take Rattata with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So, all right, one round goes to Yugioh. I should probably write this down.
Yay.
All right.
Here, I'll write it down. No worries.
Who picked it? Christina picked that one. Danny, you picked
Christina
one.
picked that one.
Yeah.
All right, I choose Garchomp versus Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Blue eyes.
Ooh, I'll start with
Ooh.
this one. I
Go
feel
for it.
the biggest factor in this one is the Blue Eyes White Dragon's attack an electric attack, because his attack name is White Lightning. Because every other attack that a Blue Eyes might have is like Neo
First
some
stream of
burst,
destruction, or
but his most iconic is the White Lightning attack. Now, is it a dragon move? Is it an electric move? Or, since the Blue Eyes is a light creature, is it a fairy move? This is what's going to really determine. Because if that's the case, if it's not electric, then you have a classic ground versus flying. Who's going to hit first? Who's faster? Who has the mobility? Thoughts on that?
I see it as an electric move.
An
I've
electric move.
always think
Yes.
of the White Lightning as a lightning attack that he just shoots from his mouth. I would never consider it a fairy move, but now I think about it, I guess he's light, but I still don't see it. I mean, like that's like dazzling gleam is
It's
not
an
really
electric
fairy.
move. It's
Um,
flat out electric move.
Okay.
I don't see it as a dragon move, because otherwise Kai would be like burst stream of destruction, but no, he's like white lightning attack, or ultimate dragon is neutron blast, and that could be argued. That could be argued, but
Yeah.
white lightning I can't argue.
So can I also
Since
make a
Gar-
tiny little notice?
What's that?
A tiny one. Since Garchomp is a duo type, ground and dragon,
Okay.
electric will not play a huge factor because ground actually, I think if I remember correctly, nullifies electric moves.
It
Oh yeah,
does.
that's exactly what we're talking
So
about.
because
Yeah.
for example, yeah. So if that's the case, White Lightning, if we establish it as an electric move, kind of obvious a little bit at this point, it ain't gonna do crap against Garchomp. It'll do something because of the dragon aspect, but not as much due to the ground aspect.
Now-
So Blue Eyes has to use something else to kind of
So-
whoopsie over here.
Do we give Blue Eyes his other attack, the card? What was that? Because we did say now outside help.
Burst
You
stream,
did say that burst
But-
stream of destruction.
burst stream
It is an attack.
that he technically can use.
But
It was, I think, also established in the movie too,
because
if I
we're
remember
not,
correctly. I
it's
think
not like
one
we're
of the
giving
movies.
him like an axe of despair or anything like that. It's
No.
technically his card, but then but then there's a lot of Karibo cards. But that's where it kind of it really differs.
Initiates a little interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause-
I'm sure the Blue Eyes can bite.
If we're gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it can bite.
Yes, it can.
I don't think I've ever seen it scratch though. I don't think I've ever seen a Blue Eyes
No.
use those giant claws. That said, Garchomp
No.
is a dragon type. Obviously, I'm gonna say that Blue Eyes like a dragon type, and obviously Garchomp's a dragon. But I mean, Blue Eyes has seen to fly, so it would nullify basically the ground attacks wouldn't work. But Dragon is super effective, and Garchomp has access to those moves specifically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Outrage or Draco Meteor.
And
So I would definitely say Garchomp has the edge here, just because his signature move, like his arguably most powerful move, is the White Lightning
Draco?
attack.
right.
Oh.
So and plus Garchomp is one of like the is a fast Pokemon,
It's
and
Yeah,
it
it is a
can
it's
fly through
considered
the
yeah,
one of the
sky.
fastest. Correct.
and
Correct.
it's what they call a pseudo legendary. Like
Yeah,
in Gen 4, it
it lets you
had
Ubers.
0 counters. It had 0 counters. Like, okay, what
Yeah.
can you do? I could play a Weavile with a Focus Sash, hit with an Ice
And
Fang,
pray to
and then
God
like
to
hit
live.
and then hit with a an Ice Shard. That's it.
Ice
There's no
ice
other way to beat
beam.
it.
Ice beam, ice shard.
1v1.
Yeah, no, even if we're going off Pokemon lore a little bit or Pokemon games actually, a lot of people that have played the Sinnoh games, especially Pokemon Platinum, everybody flat out agrees Cynthia's Garchomp, that specific Garchomp alone, is considered the strongest champion Pokemon from all the other regions. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, yeah, no, that's gonna be a real giant pain in the butt. And if we're going into that consideration of Garchomp being that OP, even just looking up when I was doing a little bit of research of Garchomp yesterday, he's considered one of the strongest non-legendary Pokemon. So the speed factor will play a kind of big factor into this because even though Blue Eyes is powerful, he's not fast, sadly
Mm-hmm.
enough.
I would think
So I
Garchomp would
kind
be
of
able
will
to,
have to give the tiny advantage to Garchomp. Yeah,
because like every time we
I
see
have to
the
give it
Blue
to
Eyes
Garchomp
move,
on that one. Just it's pretty slow.
yeah, because every time we see the Blue Eyes
It's
move,
not
it
very
moves
fast.
slow. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
and this would be an interesting fight, Kaiba versus Cynthia. That I would love to see that. But I think
Ooh.
because
honestly, yeah, it would.
the speed of Garchomp and because it can look like it's flying, I don't think the flying factor is going to be too much because eventually the Blue Eyes will have to come back down.
And
Yep.
we've established in, I think, the newest Pokemon newest meaning like Sun and Moon anime, Garchomp can fly. It just can fly.
When it Mega evolves?
No, like just a
No.
regular Garchomp. Ash like rides it, and they become like Pokemon Rangers,
Right.
like Power Rangers almost, and they get like the armbands, and Ash rides the
Right.
Garchomp, and they like fly, like right next to like a Golurk
Right.
and such. Just it. I can fly, by the way.
Honestly, I thought
Yeah,
this was
just
going to be the
I'm cool.
easiest one for us to discuss: Garchomp versus Blue
Oh,
Eyes.
I still haven't been convinced otherwise. It's got to be Garchomp.
All right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Garchomp because of the duo factor makes the duo factor and the speed honestly makes that big of a difference when it comes to the two.
all right.
Like they both have really powerful moves. They both could hit, but that speed factor and
Signature
it makes a
move,
big
not
difference.
effective.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
All right. Now, if it was like Blue Eyes
Sorry,
Ultimate
Blue Eyes.
or a different
Hmm.
Blue Eyes,
Oh yeah, different Blue Eyes.
that might have been, but that wasn't the case here.
No.
All right,
No, it has OG Blue Eyes.
we got one
Ah,
1 for 1.
darn it.
1-1. All right. So
Mhm.
Karibo and Garchomp are our victors.
Garchomp
Which one should
so
we choose
far, yeah.
next?
All right. Well, I chose
Well,
that
you
one.
gotta
Christina chose,
decide.
so
Oh
it's up to
man,
you.
I'm going to. I think another one that's gonna be easy
Which
to
one?
discuss: Mewtwo versus Dark Magician.
Okay, that's interesting. Huh.
Reason being, so I'm not gonna consider the Dark Magician's attacks as psychic. It's magic. He's a dark type. Even
Okay.
if we give him that dark type stance, I still feel Mewtwo will take it. He's been the best legendary consistently in every single generation. If you gave Mewtwo the Mega Evolution, he would just wipe the Dark Magician. There's no questions about that. Mewtwo could be very defensive. Mewtwo could be very offensive, and just to think about it, Mewtwo has never sunk below Ubers. Mewtwo is also very
True.
formidable when it comes to fighting. So even if we did give Dark Magician the Dark typing, doesn't mean Mewtwo's move pool doesn't have any fighting in it, because it can.
Technically, it can, yeah.
Dark Magician, it would be it could be an interesting match. The Dark Magician probably hold its ground, because I was thinking, what if Alakazam versus Dark Magician? I give that one to Dark Magician. This one, however, I'm giving it to Mewtwo.
Interesting.
Counter argument.
I mean, Mewtwo has obviously enough versatility to do some stuff, but if I have to go into consideration a little bit of the anime for at least Dark Magician, one, he's been around pretty much every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
Mewtwo, I'm sorry to say, has not.
Mewtwo had movies.
Dark Magician has a... Woohoo! God darn it! But I have to also give Dark Magician the fact that he also has a lot of versatility of things, you could say. Not just that, but if I'm gonna kind of dip my toe a little bit into the meta a little bit, he literally had a whole deck dedicated just to the Dark Magician meta.
Okay.
So if I were to just say meta-wise, I will have to give a little bit of the versatility factor to Dark Magician, just because Magician terms, it could pull tricks out of its hat.
All right.
Literally. Mewtwo, he has the move pool, and he has the megas, but the versatility, it's not enough. And that versatility can play another huge factor into the mess.
And before we continue,
so I don't know about that one.
We have my mic is a bit quiet. How is it now? For those watching.
Oh.
Check 1, check 2. Let me know in the comments. All right, so right now we're split. Daniel, what do you think?
So remember how I said that I had one that I was like,
this was the one?
On? This was the one.
This one?
This was the one.
Really?
The other 4 battles, I'm like, I pretty much set. This is the one that I'm confused on, because I'm thinking about the Dark Magician versus Mewtwo. I'm not counting Mega Evolutions, because then it's like we're taking items into account. Because if we take items into account, it's like, oh, how about the 180 different spell cards that Dark Magician now has at its disposal?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm thinking of exclusively the Dark Magician versus Mewtwo. And I keep thinking back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 5, the Millennium World arc, and how Mahad became the Dark Magician.
The Dark Magician.
And how Mahad's Dark Magician was the only thing that was able to break from Akhenaten's hypnotic control or psychic powers that was holding all of them down. It was the Dark Magician was able to break free of it and like set everyone else's free. So he has the ability to triumph over psychic powers.
Okay.
And the name of the attack is Dark Magic Attack, but I'm not convinced that Dark Magic is the same as a Dark Attack.
Okay.
If it
I think it's not.
Give it to Dark Magician, but I'm thinking how just overwhelmingly powerful Mewtwo is.
Because let's look at the first movie. He took a Hyper Beam and it was nothing.
Oh yeah, he
to
just
Mewtwo.
like block. It's like
he took a Flamethrower, nothing. He went head to head with Mew, and he knew Shadow Ball before it existed.
Yeah.
So there's
right.
So even though I've built up Dark Magician, I think in this case God, this is really tough.
Can I just laugh for a brief moment? The fact that
Sure.
Mewtwo is voiced by Dan Green.
Well, the second
Mewtwo
one
is voiced by
was.
Dan Green in one of
The
the
second one was
movies,
not the first one.
but still,
Um,
still a Mewtwo.
God,
I think his second voice, someone else
I
voiced the first
personally am not
one, but it's still
convinced
kind of
either
funny.
way. I'm still not convinced just
Would it
because
be a
of.
dead draw then?
I don't think
No, it's
so.
not a dead draw. We have to choose a winner for this. And I
Ah,
just keep thinking back the ability that he had to break free of Akhenaten's psychic control. Basically, he had the Millennium Eye, and was basically just to
yeah,
freeze everyone while they summoned the Zork tablet. And he was just like, I'm just gonna wait out the clock and just like have Zork show up.
right.
Dark Magician was the thing that was summoned and broke everyone free. And then it was Dark
Yeah.
Magician versus Akhenaten, who was controlling High Priest Seto, and that was the Millennium Battle. And I'm just like, well, this is really lame because it's not really Seto versus Yami. It's just like mind controlled Seto versus Yami. Like this is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
Um, and still he came out on top.
I mean, like I said, it's literally the versatility factor that kind of makes a big of a difference. Because even though Mewtwo is a clone of Mew, the fact it cannot learn every move like Mew. Dark Magician, on the other hand, it's a magician.
I don't think.
You gotta learn quite a lot of spells.
And
So, I
we
don't know.
let's.
And the fact, like what Daniel said with the fact that Dark. Okay, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's alright.
Hmm.
So I think the big thing here, you keep mentioning versatility, but let's look at Mewtwo, what he has. Like all the way back to the first one, he had barrier, agility, psychic,
Recover.
recover. That's a big one because
God,
That
he
is
could
the
take a
big
hit. Oh, okay, I'm back.
Yeah,
Um,
I really hate that movie.
with Dark Magician, I don't doubt its power, but when you look at Mewtwo's power and where it's world ending, like let's also look at like his origins and everything. Anyone who tried to capture him, he's escaped. Giovanni even put on a suit that suppressed his power. Wasn't even enough.
Except for Red
Arbor
Pokemon Origins.
Mewtwo.
Yeah. But with
Right.
Mewtwo, if we look at him, like his defense is pretty decent. His speed is incredible. Like his special defense, special attack, it's off the charts.
Yeah, he's a special attacker.
And as you mentioned
If I remember
earlier, with
correctly.
the meta, Dark Magician had its own deck. Well, Mewtwo's never dropped out of Ubers. Mewtwo's always been like a go-to pick because how versatile it is in terms of, okay, you got a dark type against me? Not a problem. Oh, you got a dragon against me? Not a problem. The more we pile it on, like you got this versus me, Mewtwo always comes out on top. With a few outliers like
Then
tanks and whatnot.
So then if we did, let's say, give a type to Dark Magician, let's say it was Dark or even Psychic, I don't know,
could see
to
it
say
as
that,
Dark
just
Psychic.
throw
I don't
it
think it
out
would
there.
matter.
Doesn't matter.
Why?
Because again, Mewtwo's stats would be far superior in terms of he can take a hit, recover it, and send it back.
I think I have to give it. The more that I'm thought about this, the more that I realize that Dark Magician is kind of just. He doesn't have as many tools because he's designed. He's a magician, so he has to have like a lot of stuff that he can like master. Like, oh, I have Dark Magic Curtain, well, can't use that here. Oh, I have Thousand Knives, can't use that here. I have Mystic Box, Spellbinding Circle. I have all this crazy stuff and stuff that I didn't even know about. Like, I have Timaeus. I haven't been caught up with modern Yu-Gi-Oh.
But even with all that
Not
said,
counting all of that. Even with all that said, we're not counting that. Just like we're not counting Mega Stones. I have now been convinced that I have to give it to Mewtwo on the account that Mewtwo, it's going to be a tough fight, but Mewtwo has the ability to recover. Mewtwo has the ability to raise the
Just
defense.
because recovered. Just that recover makes that big of a difference.
it does. Mewtwo can be
does.
considered a tank.
Yeah, I've fought a few and I don't like them.
And one of the thing is when it comes with
anything with recover, yikes.
with magic, even with the Dark Magician's magic, if you're casting an illusion, Mewtwo is like, okay, mentally, I'm still locked onto you. Sure, you gave me these 4 hats, but really, you're behind that tree over there. I know where you are. So
True.
it's one thing. It's like best
Because of
way.
the
Thor
what are
Ragnarok.
the abilities? Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok. Loki has done his illusions on Thor so many times to the point where, okay, I know that's a trick now. I know what you're doing. You're a master illusionist. You're a trickster. But it gets to a point where I learn. And then since Mewtwo's super smart, he's gonna learn fast.
Yeah.
So
I have been swayed to vote for Mewtwo.
all right. So 2 out of 3, it goes
Yeah.
to Mewtwo.
Yeah.
All right. So
So far, Pokemon's in the lead.
Pokemon's up 2-1.
Yeah.
Christina, you go and pick the next one.
With only 2 more left,
There's 2
which
left.
one do
There are
I
only 2
want to
on
save
that,
for
so-
last?
Which one do you want to save for last? Which one do you
I
want
want
to
to
talk?
save the Ray versus Slifer one for last. That's the grand.
Okay.
Yes, I want to save that one
So
for
we got-
last. That
The
one
next
is a
one I feel is
very
just going to be a
debatable one.
curb stomp.
Really?
Exodia
I
versus
think it's gonna be a curb stomp,
Arceus.
yeah.
Really? Explain.
Why?
All right, Exodia versus Arceus. We are establishing that Exodia is going to be summoned as Exodia. We're not like, okay, I got my left foot
Yes.
in, I got my right foot in, I
No.
got my left arm in, and I got to wait another couple turns before I draw the other parts.
Right.
We're talking Exodia. We're talking
Just flat
Arceus.
out, here's Exodia.
Yes. So Arceus is like, I have the ability to change all my types. I don't care. Obliterate. It's just literally unlimited power. It is an unstoppable force. Arceus is like, I'm going to transfer it to a ghost type. I don't care. It's just you.
I honestly thought this one was going to be a lot harder to discuss.
No. This 100% is 100% Exodia. This is the number one that I'm just like, this is one-sided. Like Arceus is like, I'm the creator of all Pokemon. Great, you have great stats across the board versus Exodia's infinite stats across the board. The whole point of Exodia is that he is the unstoppable, like, forbidden one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make an argument that he did lose to Zork in the Millennium World.
Yes,
Zork
he
was really
did.
only defeated by, the embodiment of light, because that's like he's just darkness incarnate.
I think
So you can make an argument for
Polka,
that,
I think her name was.
but I definitely say that Arceus does not fit that category. Arceus is.
But
way
Arceus is
below
a
power.
god.
Christina,
Yeah,
you look
God just
you look
means-
happy.
Arceus is a
God
god.
literally just means I create everything. Great. Doesn't mean I can't just destroy you.
And Exodia is, at this point, as we established, god of destruction versus god of creation. So it's like, okay, they're like a yin and yang. They kind of balance each other out, but Jesus Christ.
Right. So who will win a
And
fight?
especially
God of
the fact that
creation or
Arceus
destruction?
does have. But at the same time, Arceus does have a very powerful punishing move called Punishment. That is just, if we're gonna take stats into consideration, Obliterate, I mean, it kind of says it in the name itself. I have to kind of say that. But Punishment is just as broken. I'm sorry, but darn it, you have to bring up the word unstoppable, and I'm like, no.
So what?
Stop.
I'm going with Exodia on this one because if you think about
Everybody has to say Exodia.
Yu-Gi-Oh lore, yes, it was stopped by Zork under circumstances.
Yes.
And in the anime, according to them, the monsters that are only stronger than Exodia are the Egyptian gods, where not even Exodia would mess with them. However, in the card game, it doesn't matter. If you have Exodia, you win. It takes. I don't think Arceus has the capabilities to entrap Exodia for a victory, even if it's not to the death. I don't think Arceus has any ability to trap Exodia. However, a 10-year-old can send a Pokeball and capture Arceus. I think with Exodia,
So far, that has not happened yet. So
in
so far, but
Brilliant Diamond and
a brilliant diamond and friggin' pearl.
I don't know what the other pearl one's called,
It
but
was an event, so
I
I don't
feel
remember.
the biggest
Brilliant
thing,
diamond and I don't know.
like just like any other legendary except Bidoof, Exodia is unstoppable. He was designed to be like no one is gonna like if he's the judgment day. He is the final call. If you're standing toe to toe with him, you better start praying because you're not going to live through this.
You'll be the size of an ant.
He just smiles. He gets
You'll be an
summoned. He goes
ant.
back home.
Yeah,
It's not
this
a
just
fight.
hi,
It's an
squish.
obliteration. He shows up and he destroys you and he goes away. There is no fight involved in this.
I honestly thought this was gonna be a lot harder.
Oh no, not that one. That was the number one. Oh, that easiest fight.
Another thing
But
I
am
was
looking forward
gonna
to the final one.
I was gonna consider if you do happen to quote unquote kill Exodia Necros. He's an unstoppable
Yeah.
undead being that keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I don't think Arceus can erase Exodia's parts from existence. So you have two win conditions for Exodia.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So
All
Exodia
right.
takes
Peace,
that one.
God.
So now
So
we are tied
the
to
tiebreaker.
So it's 1-1. Literally, it's
winners are
yeah.
Exodia and Karibo and
The
Dark
polar
Magician
opposites.
and Garchomp. Polar opposites, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
So now it's
Mewtwo
the
Polar
final
and
opposites.
round.
Karibo and Exodia for Yu-Gi-Oh! And
Me-
Pokemon and Mewtwo for Pokemon being the victors for
and
that
Garchomp.
side.
Yeah.
So now it's literally the most questionable one. Yeah. Most questionable is Slifer the Sky Dragon versus Mega Rayquaza. Keep in mind, Mega Rayquaza technically swallowed its own rock.
I will start with this
Which
one.
is kind of funny.
Go for it.
still.
My
Go ahead.
choice is Slifer the Sky Dragon. Reason being, sure, Mega Rayquaza is the master of the sky. Slifer the Sky
Yeah.
Dragon is the sky. Now, one thing that I want to take into consideration for this, yes, Mega Rayquaza was banned even in Ubers. However, with Slifer, a dragon type, yes, he's divine, but I'm going to say he's dragon, that second mouth. How
Okay,
much does that
go on.
affect Mega Rayquaza? Because in the game, if it's a weak Pokemon, if it's a weak monster under 2,000, it gets destroyed. Now let's translate that
Correct.
to an attack. If Rayquaza gets hit by that, how badly is that going to hurt Rayquaza? Because Slifer's huge. Sure, Rayquaza can attack any parts of Slifer, but when you think about it, Slifer's power is infinite. It can go higher and higher and higher.
God.
It is a god.
But that depends how many cards in your hand.
Besides that,
But that literally depends. So then at this point, But then at that point, then you're gonna have to consider its effect into consideration, just because we don't even know how much base attack it technically has, because
Alright.
we don't even know how many cards are technically. So. ugh.
You want to take it away?
So
Christina,
if we
just, like,
remove that
argue? Go
factor,
for it.
I'm
So,
I'm sorry. It's just
okay.
kind of interesting because.
I feel
Shoot.
the reason, like, going back to it again, it's as soon as the fight starts, that second mouth shoots out its beam. If chances are, it's going to hit, because with Slifer's ability, as soon as the thing is summoned or a creature is going up against it, boom, it hits. How badly does that hurt Rayquaza? Because at that point, it's like going back to what you said with Stealth Rock. It's essentially a Stealth Rock coming into this battle.
Yeah.
With its weakness. So, where do you guys stand on Slifer versus Rayquaza? Mega
I'll go
Rayquaza.
last. I'll go last. Christina, you seem to have been on.
No, you go. You go ahead.
No.
You
No,
go
no,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
have to
Go-
look up
last.
something. No, I have to look up something.
I
I
have
have to look up
already
something that I'm
said that
kind
I'm
of
going
forgot
last, so
about.
you're going next.
Oh,
Ah!
I'll buy you some
So I
time.
have to look up one
All
Because
right,
because
if you're
there's one
looking
thing
up
I
something.
remember that. Yes, I am looking up something that I kind of need to remember.
All right,
It
then I
was
guess I'll go.
I know for a
Okay.
fact that. Okay.
So I am heavily in favor of the victor of not just this battle, but the title, Slife of the Sky Dragon.
Why?
So there's a lot of things that Efren said are true. The second mouth not just damages, it weakens Arceus by 2,000. It doesn't destroy it. It permanently weakens it by 2,000. One of the major things that really took it away is obviously somebody's launching fireworks outside.
Yeah.
Let me close that window.
Even I hear it on my end. I'm like, what? Why is there fireworks
So
again? I'm like, right, this weekend's 4th of July.
obviously, Slifer has a glaring weakness in like the cards or something, but so that's an obvious
Yes.
weakness. However, there is one thing that we haven't taken into account that's basically just turns the tide permanently. Mega Rayquaza comes out. The ability is called Delta Stream.
That's
Dragons
the ability I was
have
looking up.
no weaknesses.
Right.
Slifer the Sky
Oh
Dragon
shit, it affects
is
him
a
too.
dragon. So he
Right,
will
it
no
affects him
longer be
too.
affected by the weakness that is like the hand thing. So obviously it's like, oh, it's like obviously a glaring weakness, and sure I'm taking it into like, oh, I thought it's just typing. I'm like, no, like that's a glaring
Well,
weakness when translated
well,
over.
looking up
I'm talking, please.
when looking at the ability,
Wow, that is nothing.
Delta Stream, I
Nothing.
actually had to look it up. Sorry, I had to look it up. It
Yes.
says affects weather and eliminates all of the flying type weakness. So would dragon be considered flying?
He is a sky dragon. I will say that yes.
Honestly, if we
He is a
gave
sky dragon.
because we gave Blue Eyes flying,
Yeah.
so it would make sense that he can fly too.
Yes. So another thing about the fight is that let's just go by like the hand thing, like oh, it's every turn. They're not going to one shot each other. But what's going to happen is that usually in Yu-Gi-Oh is like you draw a card to get stronger. So the longer this fight goes, Rayquaza just gets a little stronger, or Slifer gets a little bit stronger as the battle progresses. Rayquaza doesn't really have recovery moves. In fact, his signature move is called Dragon's Ascent, which is an extremely powerful move. However, it lowers his defense and special defense, and he's already lost the power from Slifer's second mouth. So I have to say that it's not looking good for Mega. I mean, he is a glass cannon, and his glass is already being cracked as the battle progresses, like as it starts, as he attacks. It's not looking good, especially when his ability actually also benefits Slifer. So I am saying
Forgot
Slifer the Sky
that.
Dragon is winning against Mega Rayquaza. Go ahead, Christina.
I totally forgot one that Delta Stream actually also affects your opponent. I totally forgot because I thought it only
I looked
affects
it up
your side of the
before
team.
the stream to be ready.
I did it! I forgot! I was doing other stuff! So I had to look it up a little bit because I totally forgot. And I will agree at the fact Slifer's second mouth ability does kind of play a key factor because 2000 attack is quite a lot, especially if it's like let's say if it's normal Rayquaza, it's just gonna get annihilated very quick, just because it's not as powerful when it gets into the mega form. And like I said, 2000 is a pretty huge number to like, yikes. Okay, yeah, goodbye. And if we did give Slifer the dragon ability typing, whatever you're gonna call it, it does kind of play also the fact that, yeah, if it's gonna be dragon versus dragon and the stream ability kicks in, it's gonna give basically Slifer the big advantage of, yeah, I'm basically a ghost type like in Gen 1. You cannot hurt me. There's no weakness to me. It's like, then how do you stop it? It's and also
The
the
Pyramid of Light.
fact per round. Let's say every
Just
round,
the anime version, not
like-
the actual card they give you.
like
The movie
every
page
round
doesn't say that.
basically. No. But every round, like even Daniel said, the fact that, let's say for Slifer, it does increase by 1,000. So, for example, round 1 he gains 1,000, round 2 he gains 1,000, round 3. So, but like round 3 he'll have like 3,000, because representing cards. So I have to give, I will agree. I do have to give the advantage to Slifer on that because of Rayquaza helping him out a little bit, just a little bit, because of the ability. The ability, I hate that, but I have no choice. It's a pretty dragon. They're both pretty. Darn it. But yeah, no, I will have to slice. I will have to say Slifer will get the advantage just because, first off, round increasing, and just if that second mouth plays into effect, it's gonna really hammer Rayquaza to the ground a lot. Just because that, and plus with the move, I forget, Dragon Ascent, I think it was. It basically acts like a close combat, but for defense, and sadly enough, if you want to actually survive Slifer, you're gonna really need that defense, because yikes. Slifer has very insane, godly, freaking scary attacks. Very, very scary attacks. And I don't want to deal with them. No, thank you.
So it seems Slifer
Darn
gets
it.
this
I
win.
have to give it to Slifer. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the final
So literally
total,
Yu-Gi-Oh wins. Yu-Gi-Oh
Yu-Gi-Oh,
wins.
but it was close.
3
It
for
was
Yu-Gi-Oh,
3-2.
2 for
Like I said,
Pokemon.
I'm just
it
like,
was actually a really good
2-2,
one.
and I'm just like, I
Yeah.
gotta be convinced for one of them.
Anyone's mind
Yeah.
changed after this this whole thing? Like, who did you think was going to take it? But when anyone like surprised you?
I guess the one that surprised me was the Garchomp. The more I thought about it versus Blue Eyes, because I'm just like, right, it is White Lightning. So I'm just like that. That was like one of the tough ones. But then Dark Magician versus Mewtwo was like, oh man, this is.
Another
I
real
really
tough
have to
one.
think about this because I think about like Dark Magician lore. I have to go to like season 5. I have to think about like strength and just power. But then you just think about how strong Mewtwo is like on its own. And I'm just like, okay, Dark Magician has a ton of tools that he can access, but we're not giving him those access to those tools. Whereas Mewtwo's just like, I am raw power. Give me a stone, I can become even more powerful. Or give me a suit of armor, I can be more focused. We're not giving either of them that, and because of that, I gotta give it over there. And I'm still 100% on my Karibo versus Rattata, and just like, boom! It's like, attack.
Just because exploding.
That explosion did surprise me.
Yeah.
For me,
I actually didn't think about that because I totally forgot.
For me, it was the Dark Magician Mewtwo. I didn't think we'd actually have that long of a discussion about that one. But actually, that was like the longest one we talked about. Because again, yeah, I said if you gave Mewtwo a Mega Stone, he's just gonna wipe the floor with Dark Magician. And if Dark Magician went up against someone like Alakazam, I feel Dark Magician would have wiped Alakazam. So Mewtwo versus Alakazam, I felt it was a good matchup, but I was always on the edge of Mewtwo. But just hearing everything the Dark Magician do, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised we spent the most amount of time on this fight.
Yeah, that was the one. I really have to think long and hard about that.
What was that, Christina?
Which one were you thinking was going to have the longer discussion?
Mewtwo versus Dark Magician. Like I said, there was one fight that I'm just like, I don't know.
You had the tough call, but for
probably not the longest conversation, but I thought we were going to talk more about Exodia and Arceus. But I really thought.
I was thinking that too.
But I'm like,
I think I saw the Arceus and the Jewel of Life, and I just remember him like Arceus was like getting punked by like the 3 Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. He was getting punked by him. He just gave me like smack. I remember the Pikachu got a good hit. I'm just like, you know what? For a god, you're not that strong. You got betrayed by humans and lost.
Yeah.
Freaking humans with like a Bronzong.
You got betrayed. He got betrayed by a human, and then he got covered in cement, and
Because
people
you're a
are like,
god, that means
how?
like, oh, I can create life. I can create things. I'm like, great. That doesn't do anything against Exodia. It's like, I'm gonna create a wall that didn't do anything. I'm gonna create a giant wall that didn't do anything. I'm gonna create a prayer to like protect me that didn't do anything. I'm just
And it's like, I'm going to create 2 more monsters. Oh yeah, Obelisk, you could take this one. Take those 2 monsters. But Christina, how about you? Anything that changed your mind or surprised you?
Honestly, I have to say Slifer versus Ray. Quaza. Like, I like both. I am not picky. I like both dragons. They're both very cool. But I totally forgot about the fact that Slifer's second ability might have kicked in a little bit, and I'm like, oh right, that's a thing. I totally forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I was talking with my friends about this debate not yesterday, Wednesday, and they actually gave it to Rayquaza, funny enough. They gave
Interesting.
the win to Rayquaza, surprisingly. Just
because think of it
because
this
of the
way.
speed. Just because of the speed factor.
The weakness of Slifer is just like, oh, you have to have cards in hand for attack power. I'm like, so you're saying that if we patch, okay, who's gonna win? Karibo versus Slifer the Sky Dragon? Because like, oh, under the right circumstances, Karibo can totally kill Slifer, right? I'm like,
No.
sure. Under the right circumstances, anything can beat anything. But come on, one Karibo versus Slifer the Sky Dragon. Who are you betting your money
That poor
on?
thing is.
That second
That
mouth
poor
will just
little
take out.
Karibo is not
That
gonna
second mouth.
last.
All right, that second mouth. That doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no, the second mouth makes a difference.
No.
And even like having the ability of Garchomp versus Blue Eyes, just establishing what White Lightning is, actually did make a huge difference.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
because, like I said, Garchomp is a duo type, being dragon and ground, and playing the Pokemon competition like the VGC wise, it actually does play a huge factor. And it's like, right, because some people, for example, going back to the Pokemon VGC meta a little bit because I played it for a while, one of the few main Pokemon back in Sun and Moon that was really popular in the game was actually Alola Raichu and Tapu Koko, both being electric type, of course, and having the fairy advantage. So when I was playing the VGC, one of the biggest Pokemon on my actual team that actually did stop them surprisingly a lot was actually the donkey Pokemon Mudsdale, just because of the ground factor. And also because it does have high defense and high horsepower, but the ground really annihilated both of those because it can't really do anything. It's just like, you try to hurt me, you can't. Sorry. Nah, but no, I think that one was also a really huge surprise, just because of the typing makes a big difference. Which, I mean, it makes sense. It kind of makes sense, but ouch at the same time.
Now I
I
have.
don't know. It was all really cool. It was really cool. Go ahead.
Now I have a fun little trivia. I have.
Oh.
I actually own this card. I have one Pokemon card that will take out any Yu-Gi-Oh card. Do you want to take a guess what that is?
It's a Bidoof.
It's not Bidoof.
Bidoof.
No, it's not Bidoof.
Darn it.
Like a legit. Like if I had send all your monsters towards my way.
No idea. What?
Hmm.
I want to say Bidoof.
It's like there's a lot of Pokemon cards that have the ability to knock out the opponent. But if we're talking
Magikarp.
just Pokemon and not the item, I'm not including items. Like, okay, can you like Eradicate does like that Super Fang, Hypnotoxic Laser. I'm not counting Hypnotoxic Laser. Mischievous can like sleep then knock out.
Mimikyu.
Can't really think about
Nope.
it. What is it?
It's from the Jungle set, Mr. Mime.
Why?
Because
Oh,
you know what? So its
I know
ability,
what's up.
if the person attacking you is doing 30 or more damage, the attack is negated. The damage is negated. His
He
attack
only
is
has 40 HP. So any attack that would do more than half his health is immediately negated.
Not only that, his
What
attack
about Shin Ninja then?
doesn't matter. If the attack does 20 or more, and his attack damage is 10 plus any damage counters, you see how this is gonna start piling up. Where it's like, oh, Cypher, you have 10,000 attack. Well, I have
You can do anything.
10,000 damage counters on you. Goodbye. Nothing will defeat it other than Exodia.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Exodia would be
Keep
the only
smack.
thing to take it out.
Really?
Because
Why Exodia?
it doesn't do damage, it wins. But one of the
actually, the more I think about it, I'm like, it actually would lose to like a tank with like a low like 10 attack power attack, like a super.
Oh no,
like,
for sure.
Fat Karibo.
So when we
So Rattata?
one of the places I used to play Pokemon at used to do unlimited. Unlimited is any card from any set. We banned Mr. Mime just because of that cheap combo where it's like, well, if you're playing new cards, you're never gonna win against this because like, oh, I do Mewtwo's X Ball. Well, that's gonna do like 100 and something.
Can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So you could just spam that. So we had to ban Mr. Mime for that reason alone.
That's cheap! That's
But back in the day,
cheap.
it wasn't.
Cheap tactics to win.
She's crying.
Oh, I saw Kitty. He's
But,
so fluffy.
Yeah, so
Ah,
all of you who watch this, I wonder if we changed any of your minds out there. Any final
I'm
remarks?
kind of curious.
Daniel?
I mean, I figured Yu-Gi-Oh would pull out by a little bit, and it was fun going back and like looking at old like season 5 stuff because that's like where the lore of the dual monsters comes in most effect. So I'm like, oh, that's right, Dark Magician did break free of Akhenaten's psychic power, but it's still I would say Mewtwo's a little more stronger than Akhenaten, so quite a bit. But it was a lot of fun. This was a fun debate. I feel like we could do even more like Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh card, like I don't know.
More obscure stuff.
More obscure stuff, like I don't know.
Mr. Mime versus Soggy the Dark Clown.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be
he's a
interesting.
tank.
It would be
like,
a cool
attack,
one.
Yeah.
Christina, anything you
That
want to
would be a
plug or last
cool-
remarks?
It's kind of cool going down memory lane, remembering all these cards and just forgetting half of their abilities a little bit. It's like, right, that was the thing. I don't know. It's just really cool going down memory lane, remembering what each one did, going back through their lore a little bit, and just, oh yeah, that one did this, and that. No. It was cool. I really enjoyed this. It was really fun. Really fun.
What we'll do next time, we'll probably like we should do more of these where it's like either from video games, anime, comic books, whatever. Just make a team. Who wins 1v1 each of these people. Not necessarily like a death battle, but more of like, all right, let's think about this in terms of who would win in this, and this.
Super fight.
Yeah, super fight. Yeah,
Like a super fight.
Fight. Oh yeah, super fights.
That game.
That card game is really fun.
That game.
It is a lot of fun.
Well, one of my favorite.
I like that one. It's fun.
One of my favorite moments was it was my Iron Giant versus my friend's werewolf. It's like the werewolf would win. I'm like, no, the Iron Giant would do this. Puppy. That's it.
Then he will get sad. He'd win, but he'd be really
Yeah,
sad.
Iron Giant will cry.
I'm not a
Iron Giant.
All right.
Iron Giant is not made to destruct.
All of you watching, thanks for
man.
watching. We'll see you next time.